The Kings light the beam in one of the more unlikely games that you would have expected them to do, eking out the victory 135 to 132 in Milwaukee. Ryan and Sacktown joined by Jerry Reynolds. What's up, Jer? How you doing today? Is it tonight, this afternoon? What do we say?
Well, really a lot better. There's no doubt about it. That was such a fun game. I mean, obviously when you get away from the first 7 minutes, the Kings really played a terrific ball game. And of course, they did anyway to get the win. But just very impressive. I mean, really, as a Kings fan, if you didn't really appreciate that, you just probably sound like Grand Neighbor. You just don't like NBA basketball because that was really well played by the Kings.
Yeah, Jerry, when you look at some of the things the Kings have been really bad at, in fact, towards the bottom of the NBA in terms of free throw percentage, free throw attempts, also assists, the Kings get to the line 40 times tonight, shoot it at an 87.5% clip, and have 30 assists.
Yeah, they really did. I'll say this. The thing that struck me about this game, maybe in particular, was how good Schroeder and Domas were. And I mean, Schroeder really looked like a top level playmaker, and really was showing some leadership out there. And then Domas was being Domas, getting extra possessions, certainly scoring at a productive rate. And of course, you had a lot of other outstanding players have big games. Eubanks might have been another one unheralded, but but I guess just from my standpoint, I'm so excited to see Schroeder and Domas playing that well and together and showing the leadership, and then it makes it easier on LaVine and DeMar and everybody else to kind of fit in, because you really need leadership from those guys. And I thought Schroeder in particular really kind of took charge of the game.
Yeah, Jerry, it really was the first time we've seen those two connect down low and be looking for each other and playing as a cohesive unit.
Yeah, exactly. And then we saw them in the screen roll situation a few times. But I think as much as anything, Schroeder, he got the ball out of his own hands a lot to Domas. And then, of course, the more Domas gets it, the ball was moving side to side. Obviously, a lot of guys, the spacing was good. The ball movement was good. Obviously, offense was terrific. We can bitch and moan. Maybe the defense could have been better, but the truth is, Milwaukee made a lot of shots. I just think both teams, I think the defense was better than it looked like it was, because there were a lot of very difficult, off balance, maybe lucky shots made by both teams.
Yeah, the Kings, they got second opportunities for one of the few times this year. They got more offensive rebounds than their opponents tonight, 11 to Milwaukee's 9. But to the defensive part of it, Jerry, for a team that doesn't really have that guy to put on Giannis, with Keegan Murray still injured, I thought the Kings did a really good job on the Greek Freak tonight.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, they really did wall him off there. He got a few, but overall, I mean, in truth, if you just look at Domas individually against Giannis, and obviously he had a lot of help, but he outplayed Giannis. He was the better player today. I mean, Giannis had to force a lot, took some tough shots, and wasn't anywhere. He wasn't the factor that he normally is. Now you got to credit Coach Christie and his staff, I think, with their defensive help they were able to give Domas. But hell of a job. I mean, anytime you can check that guy in under 35, you're going to have a chance to win, and which they did.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Kings gave up 47 points in the first quarter, but from there in the second and third quarters, the Kings outscored the Bucks 72 to 58 and really brought the tempo, the ball movement. And Jerry, tell everybody what comes along with ball movement, because it's much more than just touching the ball.
Well, yeah, when everybody's involved, obviously you're going to get easier shots. You're going to get to the line more. You actually, it even helps you on defense.
Right.
You're wasting less energy. Ball moves faster than by passing than dribbling. And so, and I thought tonight we did see when the guys dribbled, they kind of dribbled with a purpose, either to get a good shot or to get the ball moving and kicked out. Because no, it was a classic offensive display. I really don't see anything to criticize at all. And obviously, Kings shorthanded, but everybody played well.
And how about that brilliant decision to foul at the end of the game after the offensive rebound by the Bucks?
Well, there again, that's Westbrook, and that's the thing. He's not the same guy he once was, but that's a little example of how great he was
Yeah.
in his day. I mean, he's smart. He knows how to play. He wrapped up Giannis on a play that saved probably a 3-point opportunity.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and even though as Kings fans we're not seeing the great Russell Westbrook, but we're seeing a very smart basketball player who brings it every night.
No doubt about it. Big night for the Kings. Easily, hands down, the best game they have played all season. 135-133. This is probably, Jerry, the blueprint for what the Kings want to be. And yet there's some areas they can still improve. When Milwaukee threw the zone defense at him, I thought the Kings were very stagnant and not getting anybody into the middle.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think they're going to have to work on that. Definitely try to get the ball into Domas in that, or you can even slide DeMar in there as
Yeah.
But you need to get the ball in the middle of the zone, and not as a scoring position, but as a passing position, because that just once you got the ball there with the live dribble, you can break down a zone with 2 passes. I mean, they've got to react to it, and so I also say, man, it does give you hope if you're a Kings fan, when Keegan comes back, because certainly again, he'd really help against the zone as well. But you can tell I'm kind of giddy here. I didn't expect to be talking about
Yeah,
win here tonight.
They shot over the Bucks 60% from beyond the arc to begin the game. 12 of their 17 field goals in the first quarter were assisted. And then in the second quarter, the Kings clamped them down 14.3% from beyond the arc. And that helped turn things indeed. And so now the Kings look to end the road trip in Denver, but we soaked this one in tonight, 135-133. Kings win. The beam is lit. If you'd like to call the show, we'd love to hear from you. All you got to do is click the link that's circulating in the chat, or you can scan the QR code. We'll try to get to as many of your comments as possible as well, but lucky to be joined here by the one, the only Mr. Jerry Reynolds, talking about this Kings victory tonight. Jerry, you're not going to lose very many ball games. I go back to this when you have 30 assists and only 9 turnovers.
Absolutely. Yeah, that I always look at those, those kind of stats, especially assist to turnover ratio and basically free throw percentage. And when you get the free throw differential as far as made free throws and percentages, Kings again, the difference in the ball game.
No doubt about it. Jerry, you had 4 Kings with 22 points or more, but talk a little bit about Zach LaVine and the level of basketball he's playing right now.
Well, he's playing like an all-star. I mean, he's playing at an all-star level. His offense is so productive. I don't think we've seen a 2-guard play at the level he's playing at since Mitch Richmond. And I mean, and I give him his props. Zach, to his credit, I think he's trying to work on his defense as well. But that guy is a big-time shot maker, and certainly he puts so much pressure on the defense, it really does allow him to get to the basket as well. But I thought tonight, too, I don't recall him taking any shots that he shouldn't have taken. I mean, he was quick to move the ball if what he wanted wasn't there. Just, Zach, there's not many 2-guards playing better than he is right now.
Yeah, he just looks so incredibly comfortable on the floor right now. His ability to separate and get space with his shot is just it's top notch right now. Hopefully that continues for the Kings. But again, the Kings win 135-133 in Milwaukee, handing the Bucks their second loss of the season, first loss on their home court. The Kings look to round out the road trip in Denver on Monday night. Jerry, can you take anything defensively from this game and this game plan and apply it to the Nuggets on Monday?
Well, I think the one thing, certainly Jokic is a better player than Giannis, but he doesn't present quite the same problems dribbling the ball and penetrating. But I do think that the one thing you can take from him is you're going to have to give help on him once he gets around the basket and anticipate the kickouts. Pretty much like the Kings did tonight with Giannis. They were. They were forcing him to kick the ball out, and that's what you probably want Giannis, or Jokic to do as well.
Yeah.
And then I think pressure the guards. Jamal Murray is a terrific player, and he's going to score, but just make it harder and make him work harder for his shots. And I think you can carry this over, but the bottom line, you score 135 points against the Nuggets, you'll beat them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, now how you're going to get it? The other part is they're a better defensive team than
Very
Milwaukee.
true.
So, the reality is you're probably going to need 120 will win. So that's the easy thing to say, and now the hard thing to get. And but hey, for the first time, I'm thinking, why not go in there and kick them around a little bit?
Hey, Domantas Sabonis has played, I would say, pretty well. I'm not going to say he cancels Jokic out, but it's like two supernovas meeting, and neither of them usually has a massive game against the other. But one thing from this game is just, I hope the fans saw this. I know that you saw it, and maybe you can explain more. The Kings only made 10 threes tonight. They shot 35.7%. But just by turning the corner, just by making the defense work, it allowed the Kings, who aren't great penetrators, to get into the paint and then kick out for those open looks. And that changes everything from Doug Christie's standpoint when it comes to running this offense.
Well, I've always said the key to three-point shooting is get easy three-point shots.
Yeah.
It's all about production. It's like, if you could get high percentage 2-point shots, layups, and 5-footers, why take any 3-point shots? Because you're also going to get to the line way more, which is what we saw tonight. The penetrating ability got the Kings, got easy 2-point shots as well as free throws, and the 3-point shots they did take was because they were sucking the defense in and they were comfortable spot up shots. And I think that's one of the real mistakes of this league is thinking in terms of, well, if you hit 40% of your threes, that'll win. It's like, well, you need 1.3 points per shot to win generally. And however you get it doesn't make any difference. It's like, like Domas, for instance, his entire career has averaged about 1.6 points per shot.
Yeah.
That's what Michael Jordan averaged. So
what?
And
That's what Jordan averaged?
Huh?
That's what Jordan averaged?
About 1.6 a shot. Yeah. Of course, he took a lot
wow.
of shots. He took a lot of shots, but was extremely productive. And that's always the key. Guys that shoot 25 times and get 25 shots, they're helping you lose.
This is very true. This is very true. Kings fans rejoice. The beam is lit. You'll be able to see it a little bit better here in a couple of hours. A lot of going on today, college football. Game 7 of the World Series just getting ready to get underway too. So a good way to send you into the rest of the night in terms of sports with the win here in SAC. You get Neat Clifford back tonight. Some good news. Keegan Murray was getting some light work in today. So seems like, Jerry, the reinforcements are starting to come, and they couldn't be coming at a better time for the Kings.
Absolutely. And like I say, I was just so thrilled with the way Drew Eubanks played, because it looks to me like Coach Christie now, you're starting to see the formulation of a legitimate rotation. Now Cantwell played there a little bit, but I mean, Drew Eubanks is the guy that's going to play behind Domas, I think, as we go. And of course, when Keegan comes back, he's going to have a pretty big role. But like you said, getting minutes for especially Nick Clifford. He didn't really have a strong game particularly, but you didn't expect him to. But yeah, it's starting to be all hands on deck. But I probably reiterate this too many times, but the big thing is you got a point guard that's running the team.
Yes.
You had a point guard that ran the team, and you had a center that everything flowed from.
Yes.
And the game got easier for everybody in addition to himself. In other words, Schroeder looked like we, thought he would look, and Domas looked like he's looked for 6 years after a rough start of the season.
And that is the key to take away from this. When the Kings said, and Domantas Sabonis said last season or at the end of the season, we need a point guard, I think this is what most of us were thinking about. So now we need to see it for another game and another game after that. But at least you do know it's possible. And you do know it's possible against a team that's bigger than you, a team that is quite frankly better than you, a team that without Giannis beat the Golden State Warriors just a couple of nights ago. So I think this is something this fan base needed indeed. And Jerry, anytime this team, despite who is playing, gets out into transition, if they're making the right plays, the IQ tonight I thought was good. They are hard to stop. They can run and they can turn up the pace pretty well.
Yeah, this is a really, we've talked about this even during the losses. I mean, this is a very talented team. It may be the wrong size, it may be the wrong age, you can legitimately talk about that. Yeah, it's an older team, but it's a veteran team. But these are talented players, and when they play to their ability and they play with each other, I think this is an example of what Coach Christie really wants. You're probably never going to be a top flight defensive team, but work together. And then you got a guy like Westbrook. I mean, you got a guy off the bench. He's going to come in and impact the game. He just is, and that's why I'm not too scared going into Denver. I mean, if anybody knows what Denver wants to do, it's the guy that played for him last year.
It's a good point.
And was a key reserve.
And a guy they did not want to bring back. So take that into mind as well. DeMar DeRozan, 41 minutes tonight, 36 for Domantas Sabonis, 38 for Zach LaVine, 37 for Dennis Schroeder, 33 for Russell Westbrook. Do you think those are going to be, especially with Russell Westbrook, numbers we're going to talk about the rest of the season in minutes, or do you see that shrinking down a little bit as this team gets healthy?
Well, I think he'll shrink down. Yeah. I mean, I think Keegan's going to, he's going to get 30 minutes, so they have to come from somewhere. And I would think probably DeRozan would give up some of them, as well as Domas and Eubanks possibly. No Monk. So there's going to be some adjustments, but I think these guys are capable of playing. I'm not saying they should play 38 minutes, 82 games, but the thing about the game that people forget, at least I think they do, there's darn many work or play stoppages.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Mean, so you're getting extra timeout rest all the time, and I've heard a lot of players talk about this. Like, yeah, well, playing 38 is not like playing 38 years ago when you didn't have all the challenges and stuff. I mean,
it's a great point.
You're getting about 3 to 4 extra timeouts.
I didn't know you could stop for a player. What did they call it? Player altercation review twice.
Yeah. I'm like, the stage, but I guess they can, they'd stop. Somebody got overcharged for popcorn in the stands. They probably stopped the game and but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like the fact you want them to get it right, but to me, get this thing moving faster. It serves. It's not fair. It hurts momentum. It hurts the viewing experience, and it's an unfair advantage probably for superstars because that you can clearly play them more.
Great point. And, Milwaukee is going to be looking forward to seeing the 2-minute report. They felt like they didn't get some calls down the stretch. Doc did not have any remaining timeouts. No fix needed for the Kings tonight. But if your plumbing at home needs any work, go check out New Works Plumbing. Sack Service Plumbing, newworksplumbing.com. They've got a fix for you. You can call today, get a free quote 24/7. They do water heaters, water line repair, sewer repair, water filtration, gas lines. They have been out to my place multiple times. They are incredible. Treat your house with great respect and always working efficiently and making things better. So go check them out again. New Works Plumbing, available 24/7. New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. If you want to call, we'd love to hear from you. Jerry Reynolds staying with us here for a little bit. Let's bring Essie on. Essie, you're on with Jerry and Ryno.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Ryno. How's it going?
Good, good.
All right, guys. So a couple of takeaways. First quarter, 47 points. I shut the game off. I couldn't watch it. I was like, they really dropped 47 points on us in the first quarter. And then NBA guru Zach texted me and said, hey, at halftime, it's about tied up. So like everyone else, I was like, are they really going to be able to pull this off? Third and fourth quarter, they really seemed like they were moving well with the ball. It was really like, I'm like, wow, where was this type of basketball, forever? I haven't seen them move the ball like this, in quite a while. But one small criticism I will have for Sabonis was towards the end of the game, the one 3-point shot that Giannis made. Sabonis went up and then literally turned his back on Giannis to just dare him to shoot the ball. That was 3 points right there. So we had an 8-point lead that was cut to 5, and then Sabonis threw his hip out on a moving screen with Schroeder. So that was just a 5-point turn right there, and from there it became a 3-point game, and everybody was just on pins and needles of whether we're going to pull this game off or not. So I just hope the veterans, I know they're undersized, I know they get tired and playing this style of defense, but I really hope those type of mental mistakes don't happen. And shout out to Russ for fouling on the floor and not at a 3-point shooter, because that would have been, I don't think we would have won this game if it went into overtime. Anyways,
yeah,
thanks,
the momentum
guys.
was turning. Hey, thanks, Essie. Jerry, with the offensive foul calls with the big men and the guards, how do you evaluate that as a coach? Are you looking as much at the guard as you are the big man who's setting the screen?
Well, in generally speaking, it's a lot of times, or probably more than half, it's the guard's fault because they move before the screen is set. And that illegal screen that Doma said, actually, that was on him. He rarely does it. He's probably the best screener in the league. But in general, guards get in too big a hurry. I've always said, you want your defender to see the screen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea of the screen. So don't move so fast, and then it puts your screener in an impossible situation. I would disagree with the previous caller about the defense on Giannis on a 3-point shot. You would gladly give him 40 3-point shots every game.
Yeah.
He is the most efficient and productive player in the paint and one of the least productive outside. Now he's got so he can make them occasionally, but that's every team in the league will give him that shot.
I'm with you. Every team. I thought, Jerry, they might start doing hacky Giannis because he's not a great.
Yeah, he's gotten better though. Used to you could do that, and it's like even the 3-point shot. He's not a good 3-point shooter, and generally that's what every team in the league would like to see him do, is shoot about 10 of them a game. Yeah. But used to be couldn't shoot a lick. I mean, everything was at the basket. But the truth is, if in fact you get up into him and then let him get a run at the basket, you're giving up 3-point opportunities there. So anyway, that's just my opinion. I don't think there's any coach in the NBA that wouldn't encourage Giannis to shoot threes.
Yep, and I can guarantee you if you go check out bennettrestaurants.com, you're not going to turn your back on what they have to offer. Go to check them out there, bennettrestaurants.com. 3 locations here in the greater Sacramento area, Rockland, Roseville, Howe, and Fair Oaks. They're running a special darn near every day. Get out there tomorrow for weekend brunch. They do that on the weekends. Also, not a brunch person, don't worry. Prime rib Friday or Saturday, Sunday night, happy hour every single day of the week. Jerry can attest to it. It's the place to be. Never a bad meal. Incredibly affordable for what you get. And Brian and the staff will treat you like kings and queens as well. So again, go check them out. Bennett'sRestaurants.com, Howe and Fair Oaks, Roseville, and Rockland locations. So the
Yeah,
Kings.
that's great. That's great food there. And Brian is
Oh boy.
Yeah, really a wonderful experience.
They do it right. They do it right every single time. Grant pulls double days when
Yeah.
he has meetings. He'll go there for lunch and dinner. I mean,
Well, one thing about it is it's pretty clear that this team plays better when just me and you are running the show here.
Hey, I wasn't going to say anything, but
yeah, no, well, I got to go. I got to take a shot at Napes on this.
Maybe we
he's
should
probably
track
getting
that.
he's getting mentally ready for the Giants probably tomorrow.
Yeah, the Giants. He's locked into the World Series Game 7 because now it is a Game 7. He deserves a day off once in a while.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely.
But
absolutely,
I don't mind running the show with you.
We're old partners from the summer.
This is true.
We covered all the things that should happen back then, and tonight we saw most of it actually work out.
Very true. We make content when there is no basketball content, but I must say you could make a broomstick look good on a show. So I give most of that credit to you, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. I know I'm a pretty man to go with it, but
Miss Reynolds tell you to throw that in there?
No, I don't get that kind of support anymore. No.
Hey, were you surprised? I could not recognize Kyle Kuzma. He was looking a little different.
Yeah, he really does, doesn't he? And he's not much space for another tattoo anywhere, I don't think. But his body looks a little different. And he was really good too. I mean, that's the thing. He made 3 or 4 just probably a little bit lucky shots, but I mean, he was really going to it. I thought the Bucks. Where they made the mistake, as we go second guess, is Miles Turner was dead weight out there. Bobby Portis, if they'd played Bobby Portis all the time, with Kuzma and with Giannis, they'd be way better that way most of the time.
They just signed Miles Turner.
That's I know to a long-term big money deal,
yeah.
and I mean I've never been a fan. I mean I think he's a good player, but he's lucky to play with Indiana, and he basically doesn't rebound for a big guy. He can spot shoot and block a shot now and then. But like I say, I mean, what can he do better than Bobby Portis? Nothing.
Well, and Bobby Portis scares me a lot more than Miles Turner does. I mean, did you see the way?
It had been years ago. When he was free agent. That was the guy. I said, man, if Kings. After the Beam Team thing, I said that would be the perfect guy, and I still believe that with Sabonis because he can shoot the 3, he's tough, he can play center, brings that edge.
He definitely has the crazy eyes. Did you see the way he was looking at Sabonis?
Well, yeah, we need some crazy eyes out there.
We do need some crazy eyes for sure. I got to ask you about this. AJ Green, good player, built well, shoots the ball well. But I'm not sure if we're going to be calling him Derry Bird anytime soon. What do you think about that?
That was almost blasphemous, wasn't it?
Right?
I mean, that's the kind of thing that a lightning bolt ought to hit the arena.
I would agree.
No, I mean, the guy's a good player. And, I think, it's like the Rollins kids are really a nice find for them. And, but that there again, I thought he'd been playing so great, but Schroeder really did outplay him, and was a real key to the game. But they've got a nice team. But for them to win big, Giannis has got to be a 30-plus point guy, I think.
So, Jerry, now that you've seen Dennis Schroeder, and we felt like it got a little bit better the last couple games, but you saw what he did tonight. Now, Doug Christie, to me, that creates a standard. That's the Dennis Schroeder that this team needs. So when he's laying back and shooting threes, where is it on Coach Christie? Is it incumbent on Coach Christie to make sure to get that out of Dennis Schroeder going forward?
Well, and it's incumbent on Dennis Schroeder. It's one of those things when you see a guy do it a couple games in a row, then he can do it. So there's you can't say you can't do it because we've seen it. So now we expect that every night. I mean, the reality is that it won't happen that way. But I do think that these last two games we've seen Dennis become the point guard that we thought, and it's not unusual. How good he was in the World Games, but he was the leader of that team, had been for years, and it takes a while to get comfortable being the boss, so to speak. And I think he's there. I think we've seen signs of that. So I think we're going to see good guard play. I'm not saying he's going to be elite point guard in the league or anything, but But I thought when they signed him, I thought his talent and way he played in Europe, would probably, could be among the top 20 starting point guards, and I think that's certainly true, if not better.
Very good. Kings win 135-133. They beat Milwaukee with Giannis. You get Nick Clifford, who returned tonight, gave Coach Christie some decent minutes, got to the middle of the zone, played 15 minutes and 53 seconds. We'll talk about the back end of the bench here in a few minutes, but first let's get to Umair. What's up, Umair? Jerry and Ryan with you.
Hey there, you guys. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, hear you good.
Gotcha.
Wonderful. And what a treat, what an honor to be on at the same time with the great Jerry Reynolds. So it's a pleasure. I've got goosebumps right now a little bit thinking about it. Salute you for everything you've done and do for our city and the Kings. So just wanted to say that first and foremost. Wanted to just get your guys' thoughts. And it was that how are you and how should we as Kings fans be approaching the season? And I say that because, for the past 2 years, we were thinking of building expectations, going further and further. But obviously, what a letdown at the end of last season and the off season. So how should we be thinking about this season? Just enjoy the good moments and hope we're not in basketball purgatory or basketball hell any longer. Just pray for that. So welcome to your guys' thoughts as seasoned Kings fans here. So thank you guys.
Jerry?
Well, that's great. That's a great question. And just from my perspective as a fan, all I can do is tell you, I think that the thing that for me, you not only do you want to see wins and you want to see the team playing well, but you want to have an idea that it's going somewhere. And so I'm still very concerned, to be honest. And I was telling Whitey, as on with Whitey Gleason yesterday, we were talking about this, and I said, at about the 25 game mark, that'd be a good time to take a look at where this team is, in a sense of, do you think that it can make some sort of a run in the, maybe get a playoff spot or even the play in, and if it doesn't look good at some point, well, this is an old team. If in fact it doesn't look very promising at 25, 30 games, well, then you better think in terms of trying to make moves to get younger, because if you're not winning with older guys now, if that's the case, then why would you think it's going to be better next year? And so that's just my thinking. I like watching the team and all that, but I also know that in my mind that with the age of the team, you really have got to see some wins.
Yeah, I would add on to that. I am not as concerned about wins and losses, and I want to see some wins. more than I'm concerned about learning more about Keon Ellis, learning more about Keegan Murray, learning more about Devin Carter, knowing that those might be pieces that can fit in around, because if the Kings are, Grant and I were talking about this on the radio, you're not going to get a star through the trade deadline. You're not going to get a star in free agency. It's got to be through the draft. And when I look at Keegan, who's already been extended, we know he's part of the future. When I look at Keon, I think he certainly could be a very good part of the future. And I think Neek's going to end up developing into a very fine player. But I guess what I'm saying is those are pieces that could fit in with just about any star. If a star couldn't fit in with those pieces, they're not a star to me. So, to Jerry's point, I would like to see, if the Kings are playing bad basketball, different combinations that include some of the younger guys. And I would expect, Jerry, too, that some maybe even, and I don't like the idea of moving Malik Monk, but yeah, a Monk, a DeRozan, I could see those being names, regardless of how the Kings are doing, that will be out there at the trade deadline.
Yeah, well, I do think going along with kind of what we said, and I think it's a great question. But it's at some point, let's say in the 25, if it looks like you're really not heading where you want to go, and he's, well, then that's when you really have got to make sure you're getting those guys, younger guys, minutes, because you need to find out.
Yeah,
for sure. And that becomes more important than propping up minutes for older guys. And it's, and I always get a kick too out of, doing the different podcasts and things and reading fans' thoughts, because I have a lot of thoughts too about, well, why don't the Kings just trade this guy for that guy? And it's like, well, yeah, that, my guess is that it'd be a good trade, except that maybe that other team won't do it.
exactly.
And I think that's the tough part, and I think that's the tough part going forward, because I'm not sure what the real value overall of some of the guys due to contracts or age, and so
Bingo.
that gets tough, and you don't have a lot of cap room, and that's why I think, honestly, if you're really talking trades, I think Monk is probably the guy that could bring value back. And then let me just finish off. Anything this team does going forward via trades or anything has to be younger.
Amen.
You can even get, in my mind, you could even go for less talent. You might say, even if you had to trade Monk to get a bigger wing, 4-3 kind of guy, 6'8", 6'9" guy, maybe he's not as talented as Monk, but it still would make sense. I always say that, just another topic, the Oklahoma City Thunder traded Josh Giddey to Chicago for Alex Caruso. Well, Giddey's going to be a star. Caruso's not a star, but it made sense for both teams, because the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't need a star. They needed another stopper, another defender to win championships, which they did. Now,
such a great point.
3 or 4 years from now, that trade will look terrible for the Thunder, because Giddey's going to probably be an all-star in the East for a few years. But if I'm Sam Presti, I'd do that thing every day.
Well, it's not going to look bad if they get another title or two.
No,
with Caruso,
if they get another title. But let's say they don't. What if Chicago gets a couple?
Yeah,
I'm just saying it was a great trade for both. But one player is better than the other, and the better players and younger in Chicago. But Oklahoma City could do that. They
were in the position.
They had their young stars.
Yep.
And once you have that, then you can fill any way you can, which is what they did. Like I say, Sam Presti's the best there is at it. And but I thought at the time, it's like, yeah, I understand why they did it, because Giddey didn't really fit necessarily going forward for them, because they had their stars, and he's not as good as Williams or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And so anyway, but I mean, that's kind of thing that the Kings probably need to take chances on a young guy that maybe long and athletic, hasn't quite, you know, proved how good he can be, because you're going to have to take a chance. You're going to have to take a chance and get a guy at the right time. I always say those were the key things the Kings did years ago to turn the franchise around, was getting Doug Christie and Bobby Jackson in particular, guys that
Mike Bibby.
Yeah. Now Bibby less so, because everybody knew he was good, and you gave up a really established, really good player.
But you gave up Mr. Electric, right? Jason Williams. If you said Kings, everybody said Jason Williams.
Well, I was going to say, I still think Jason Williams was as important as any player in the history of the franchise, because he truly, more than anybody, brought the team from the doldrums into the nightly ESPN highlights. And I mean, I've said many times, I'll say it again. He was a better player, more talented than Bibby.
Yeah.
And later on he starts on a world champion with Miami, but Bibby was the fit they needed.
Yep. It's a great point.
Bibby was the fit they needed. And there again, that's an example of that. It's just like, Christie and Corliss Williamson. I wouldn't say Doug was necessarily better than Corliss, but he's different, and he's the perfect fit. Corliss went on, as you know, to play on a world champion with the Pistons and be the sixth man of the year. So, but that's kind of things. Sometimes everybody thinks you got to win the trade. No, you have to get what you need that makes you better in the trade.
Bingo. And Urs, I think that's a pretty good answer to your question. And I would just add this on. I know Jerry said it at the beginning. You don't have the assets to get that guy right now. You don't. So let's go back to the phones. Jerry, actually, Rabanese, we're coming to you next. Jerry, do you feel like the team's IQ has gone up every game? I don't know if I do.
No, I wouldn't say that. I thought today it did. I'm not sure until tonight's game that I really saw what I'd hoped to see for the most part. I liked how the guys played together. Seemed like most of the shots were high quality shots. The people that were controlling the offense were controlling it, and except for the first quarter, which defensively was a disaster. But that was almost as much just you had a team that just made every shot.
Yep.
It's hard to guard 3-point shooters when they're making them. So anyway, yeah, I thought tonight, looked like they played like a smart team, and down the stretch had a chance to lose the game, but made plays that won it. In other words, they played probably smarter down the stretch and had more effort than did the Bucks. So
100%.
And we hadn't seen that. I thought, obviously, but Domas getting those 3 offensive rebounds down the stretch was maybe the big difference.
Yep, 100%. Rabanese, what's up, man? You're on with Jerry.
Yes, man. I couldn't wait to get on with you, Jerry, because you just started talking about the team that made me a Kings fan, right? And when you started talking about Jason Williams, Bobby Jackson, Doug Christie, when you talk about Bobby Jackson and Doug Christie, you're saying that one thing that I'm thinking that this team is needing, we're missing that high basketball IQ. That's why I wanted to get on before you guys answer that question.
Yeah.
So I feel like when did you feel like this team went from more of a talent standpoint, more to where from a basketball IQ standpoint to now a talent standpoint? Because as you said right now, Jerry, the talent is not better than the IQ. The IQ is what you need in basketball to make those right passes, to do what Westbrook did today, to make that foul, right? So when you say that, Jerry, how would you build? Because I feel like we do have our Chris Webber in a sense with Domas, right? He could be our Chris Webber where we can build around, but he needs other players that don't need the ball in his hand for ISO ball, Jerry. Like how do you feel? Like how would you build your team, Jerry? In a sense,
Well, I think you hit on. I mean, now to your point, and it's a really good point. The basketball IQ, and the thing that I've said right along with this team, when you've got a bunch of older veterans that have been there, there's no reason for them to play dumb. you know, they know how to play. I mean, the Westbrooks and the DeRozans and LaVines, they may not always do the things they should, but they know. And I thought tonight was maybe the first time that we've seen them actually realize that, okay, we can win as a team and I can get my 30, but I don't need to bounce the air out of the ball while everybody's standing there. But I thought, you know, in my opinion, you know, Schroeder really kind of took over the offense, and Domas handled the ball a lot more. And Domas handle it means the ball's moving because he's not trying to score much. You know, I think to your point, I think it's what Coach Christie maybe did tonight. I think sooner you get into your rotations, you know, your 8 or 9 guys that are going to play, and they know their roles, they know how much they're likely to play, and then you've got a chance to kind of build some, not just togetherness, but the intelligence of the game, how we have to play. Sometimes, it, you know, to your point, sometimes it's not how we want to play, it's how you need to play, which means you know, each guy's got to be willing to sacrifice some of their individuality in order for a team to play at its best.
My God, Jerry, that's perfect. And one more thing, Jerry, I want to sidetrack this a little bit because I never get to get you on, Jerry. What was your best moment announcing? What was your best moment ever in that Arco Arena stadium that you remember that you have flashbacks on, Jerry?
Yeah, well, you know, there's so many. I didn't get to. We weren't allowed to call the game 5 where Bibby hit the big shot. You know, so that would have been one. But I always remember. Probably I was about as excited as anything when in the playoff series with San Antonio, and this was as the team really was kind of on the way down. Kevin Martin hit a big shot. You know, and looked like the game, you know, it's one of those things where I'd kind of honestly kind of give it up. You know, we were, you know, we're playing the Spurs, you know, and I thought we're dead in the water. And then he hits that. I just, I tell you what, I about met the big one right there, but that was, that was exciting.
Elizabeth, I'm coming.
Oh my gosh.
I'm coming,
Yeah.
Marty. I'm coming.
Elizabeth.
All right, Jerry, Ryno. Hey, Jerry, I'm gonna call you
Rabbinies.
again, man.
Anytime. Great questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Rabbinies, always good with the basketball IQ.
Yeah,
Jerry,
he knows his stuff, doesn't he?
he does. Ja Morant has been disciplined by the Grizzlies and suspended indefinitely, I believe it was, for detrimental contact. The coach was critical of his effort, and he responded in a passive way per Shams. Is this it for Ja Morant in Memphis?
You know, I think it should be. You know, I mean, I think he probably needs a trade. They need to move on from him. I mean, obviously he's a marvelous talent, but in the last couple of years, he really hasn't been that valuable to him due to unavailability or this or that. And yeah, I'd have to think that that's a guy that's going to be out there on the trade market now.
Yeah.
What do they get? What do they want? You know, those will be the issues, and what teams would be willing to, at this stage, even with his great talent, to take the risk. You know, because the contract is a contract too.
Yeah, it's that risk reward. And I apologize. It's not an indefinite suspension. It is a one game suspension, but something to keep your eye on because for whatever reason, this guy just cannot keep it together. He can't. All right, Baki dropped off. We were going to go to him. But anyways, Kings win. Good. They move on to Denver Monday night. Probably the best game they have played all season. So we know they are capable of moving the basketball. Everybody, as Jerry said very wisely, got theirs and gave up a little bit. They got out into transition. Jerry, any closing thoughts on tonight's victory?
Well, you just, not only was it a terrific victory over a good team, but you're hoping it's a jumping off part that we start seeing, you know, seeing this level of play on a regular basis. It doesn't mean you're going to win all the time, but I mean, to where you have a chance to win every night and compete with the very best teams. And the next game will tell us a lot, the next two, you know, with on the road against a championship contender in Denver, and certainly one of the better teams in the West in the Warriors. And so it's one of those things that this team proved itself tonight, but it's got to keep doing it. It's got to keep doing it. Just one game, and we can be as excited as we want to, but we'll have to, we're going to expect the same kind of effort against the Nuggets. And, I'm kind of going into that game a little bit mixed emotions because I feel so strongly about David Adelman and the Adelman family. Of course, Coach Rick Adelman, the best thing that ever happened to Sacramento Kings basketball. He and Jeff Petrie, but Adelman, just a great coach. And David, I think he's got a lot of Rick in him. Like I told Coach Adelman, talking about a month ago, I said, I think David's got the potential to, have your coaching expertise, and he's even got a likable personality.
Which it seems like he is a big shakeup. Not that Coach Malone is bad in any way; it's just different styles.
Yeah, and that's usually what happens. You get a hard-edged kind of coach, and then they want to kind of bring in a different. Then after a few years, the softer guy, they get tired of him, and they want to bring back, the old coaches, a player's coach, and they want to bring back the Tom Thibodeau type, that sort of thing. And so that's the way it is. I get it, because in the league, you're with the team so long. I kind of agree that probably after 5 years, for the most part, unless you really have turned your team over, you almost need a different coach.
Interesting.
I mean, guys that have been around a long time, generally they're coaching different teams every 4 or 5 years. So, it's kind of like college a little bit.
The college might be a little more wild with the buyouts.
I don't.
Crazy.
When every player's a free agent every year.
Yes, that too.
That's what that is now. They've got to get a handle on that.
Jerry, do you have time for 2 quick calls? I don't want to take too much of your time. Okay, 3 minutes for Baki and BJE. What's up, Baki?
Hey, it's very always pleasure to talk with Jerry. So a big hello for the legend.
Thanks, Baki.
How are you, Jerry? And also for you, Ryno. Great job, really great job. I am following the radio, but I'm not able to catch up always. But sensational, really.
Thank you, appreciate it, brother.
So, I will always finding some question when Jerry is here, because his knowledge about basketball and everything. So we all witnessed how it like when Kings developed that kind of ball movement that we saw, and in the live coverage, Katie one time said in the middle, it was just in the middle of the second or third quarter, I don't know, when she said this is the best offensive action that they developed from the beginning of the season. So it was when ball rotate from one side to another, when they put numbers on, and at the end they scored for 3. So actually, I'm curious about if this is some kind of turnover point. What do you think when Keegan Murray is back? Is that gonna slow up a little bit this what we are trying to build up here, or it's gonna make it somehow better? What do you think about it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, my feeling is that it might not be better immediately. Guy coming off injury and then having to assimilate himself in. So there could be a little bit of an adjustment. I would almost expect that to be the case. But I think it has to make the team better, if for no other reason than defensively. He's a wing that can guard. He's the best defensive big player that the Kings have. And so that will help. And then as long as they're getting the kind of ball movement they have, then I think eventually that'll help him too. But what we don't want is when they get all the ball stoppages and one-on-one stuff, Keegan's the kind of guy that ends up standing in the corner and not being a factor. So
Yeah.
with the kind of ball movement we saw tonight, as you pointed out, yeah, well then you add Keegan in there. I think this team will be better. You know how much, and it may take several games to get there, but I would think it'll make the team better.
He also is, in the last season and a half, been one of the more active guys in terms of cutting backdoor. I think it's only going to help, especially when the Kings get hit with his own defense like they did tonight. So, hey, Bach, go ahead.
May I ask you, Ryno, if you have it in front of you, because I didn't see the statistics and anything. What was the minutes for Schroeder, and what was the minutes for Westbrook?
37:06 for Schroeder, and Westbrook was 33 minutes and 33 seconds.
That's the reason I asked, because that is very equal. So now you have 2 point guards playing that kind of play where we can see a lot of ball movement and a lot of penetration inside and moving out to one or other side. So my question for Jerry was exactly only pointed for the offensive end, because I know the rebounds and defensive play, man on man, Keegan will help definitely. But what will happen in the offense? That's what I'm curious about.
I think Jerry kind of hit that for sure. Hey, Baki, appreciate you. We got to run. We got one more call.
Have a good evening.
Have a
See you,
great
Baki.
evening. Good stuff from Baki. We close the show with BJ.
What's up, my man? Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we got you.
See ya.
Excellent. Hey, Mr. Jerry, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here, and thank you for talking with myself and Dorian at Bennett's. Man, you really spent a lot of time, and we talked some old basketball, and you really, man, that was worth the trip in itself. So thank you very much for your time. You're a living legend, and I love you so much. I have a question about defensively. On the rotations and help side defense, does it seem as though we may have a little bit of a issue on the help side defense? I know it's still early, but against teams like Denver who actually swing the ball well, it almost seems, and I know the rookie's out with an injury. He did come back today, but with Keegan coming back, of course, that'll improve things. But what do you see our deficiency is on help side defense? Because that seems to be a weak point with the Kings right now. Well, what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's a great point, and I agree with you. And I think early in the season here, and it's a little bit better today, but the first quarter wasn't. But overall, I think this team has a tendency. In other words, when your man's in the corner or whatever, the guys are helping when they don't need to help. In other words, I always say what you don't want to do is be in no man's zone. In other words, a defender should never be in a situation where he can't get back to his man.
Right.
And in other words, so they're caught in the middle there, like, well, they can't really help in a double and they can't get back. I used to always bitch about Mike Bibby like that. I always say he had a rare ability to get in the middle of nowhere. not be able to. Reggie Theus was like that too. It's like, no, you're not helping. If you're not helping, then stay on your man. But basically, you always want to be in a position to help, but never where you can't get back to your man. But I think this team kind of cheats too much like that.
Yeah.
And BJ, I would add on this: it doesn't help when they're gambling on the ball and they're forced to get out of position. That is never a good thing. I thought they did less of that tonight, actually, Jerry.
I agree.
We talked about that the last game where they're trying to steal the ball too much. I thought they tried to stay in front of their man, and get steals, straight up, rather than trying from behind and all that. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's a good day to be a King today.
Indeed. Thanks, Beach.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, Kings win 135-133. Couple things to look for as they head to Denver. Keegan Murray got some work in before the game on the court, so he is slowly working his way back. Neat Clifford returned. Zach LaVine looked well. He's been dealing with a little bit of an illness, so all is good, at least for tonight. The beam is lit. Jerry, it's always a pleasure getting to spend an hour with you. Thank you so much for making the time for us here on the post-game show.
Well, just a lot of fun being with you and the fans, getting a chance to answer questions. Whether I did a good job or not, that's debatable, of course. but anyway, on a really fun game to watch tonight. So it's all good, and I'll be watching a little World Series here in a minute. Pop me some popcorn and enjoy the weekend.
Who you got, Jerry?
Well, I'm probably for the Dodgers, and I've never been a big Dodger fan, but I've become I think they're a classy organization, and the other teams from Canada. So to hell with them,
Yeah, but 100%, 100%. Just because we own their Stanley Cup does not mean they can take the Major League Baseball trophy.
Exactly right. No, we won everything.
That's right. Even the CFL champ. Jared, thank you so much. Everybody out there, thank you very much. We'll be back on Monday with full coverage of the Kings and the Nuggets right here on If You Don't Like That. If you haven't already, give us a big thumbs up. We would appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't. And if you didn't know, I should probably remind you, because we're still having people that don't know this. Grant's back here in Sacktown. We are on Fox Sports Radio Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 o'clock, 104.7 FM, 890 AM. Now, here's the best way to listen, the easiest way and best. Grant, he got rid of my visual. How about that, Napes? Go to the App Store or Google Play and download the Fox Sports, or you can type in Fox KSAC app and download that. Anytime we are on live, you can listen wherever you're at. No geo boundaries. Baki said he's been listening over in Serbia. So come check us out. The replays right now of the show you can find on YouTube, and also you can find audio-wise on Grant's audio platforms. Appreciate y'all. Kings win tonight. The beam is lit. On to Denver to finish out of the road trip. And you got to think the Kings are going to be going in there with some confidence after doing a very effective job on Giannis tonight. Very effective. And, the finishing quarter strong. That was big as well. The Kings, if you didn't hear the stat at the beginning, 72-58. 72-58. They outscored the Bucks in the second and third quarters combined. 30 assists to only 9 turnovers. That's going to get it done on most nights. 4 Kings with 22 points or more. So appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your night. Be safe. Hope you had a great Halloween as well. We'll be back with you on Monday, first on the radio, and then right here on If You Don't Like That. Make it a great one. So long.